84 candidates are running for the 12 new Portland City Council seats in November. The filing deadline was this past Tuesday. 23 of them are running in the newly formed District 3, one of 4 new districts created for Portland's new system of government. District 3 is essentially Portland's inner east side, up to 82nd Avenue and jogging over to 102nd. Sandeep Bali hopes to be one of those 3 city council candidates to represent District 3 at Portland City Hall. A pharmacist by trade, Bali founded a nonprofit to help students pursuing healthcare careers. Sandeep Bali, welcome to Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, most of the candidates running for office, they decide to opt into the small donor elections program, which helps provide matching funds for campaign expenses. You decided not to do that, to opt out of it. Why?
Yes, originally I did opt into the program, and as I was going through the program, I realized that it's a big expense on taxpayers. That money doesn't just come from out of thin air. That money is provided to the candidates by taxpayers to the tune of $5 million. And so while I was in the election, I kind of ran into the situation where I'm learning, where is this money being spent? It's being spent on haircuts, it's being spent on outfits, nails. Some candidates have hairstylists on retainer, which I just think the taxpayer should not be paying for something like that. They shouldn't be paying for a brand new lifestyle for a candidate. Also, I just look at where that money is being spent. Right now, we're looking at some candidates have qualified for $40,000. And a lot of that is being spent in mailers. And where do those mailers go? I get mailers in the mail and they go sometimes directly into the trash. And so is that a good use of taxpayer funds? I decided it wasn't, and so I took myself out of it.
But isn't the small donor elections program necessary for people who do not have the financial wherewithal to actually mount a credible campaign?
Absolutely. I think that's where we're running into this issue, is because a lot of the candidates that are, certified right now, they come from a political background. They come from the government. They come from well-known within the nonprofit world. So nonprofits are donating to them in exchange for when those candidates end up in office, they will be funneling taxpayer money to those nonprofits through grants, through scholarships, through whatever's available. And so that's where we run into this kind of issue of transparency. Where is the money being spent? And for me, I just decided I don't want to be part of that. I can run my campaign on less than $40,000. I ran before, and my campaign was run on $2,000 and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And this time around, I'm just kind of seeing how much money am I going to need for my campaign, and even less this time. And, I've made it here.
You're a pharmacist by trade, so why get into politics?
Well, the main reason I got into politics was originally I worked downtown in a pharmacy, which helps so many people. I have a background in HIV and hepatitis C and mental health and drug addiction. And that pharmacy was destroyed in 2020. And for me, when I saw what was happening during that time, it was just kind of alarming. And what was happening was businesses were being broken into. Downtown, we saw it deteriorate during that time. We had 100 days where it was championed to kind of destroy downtown. And for me, as a working person, it was really hard to see, a pharmacy that I work at, which I look at as I'm very proud to work there, just go away. So I decided, I looked into that, and it's really policymakers that are behind that. It's policymakers that are behind, what's happening downtown, how people are held accountable, what happens when there's a riot. That's all policy. So I decided, instead of just sitting at home and complaining, I'm going to run for office, and I'm going to try to make a difference, and I'm going to go out there and be courageous.
What are your priorities should you be elected?
My number one priority right now, I think what we're seeing in Portland is the homeless crises. And I'm breaking that down into 2 things. I think we're seeing a lot of mental health issues, and we're also seeing a lot of addiction issues. So clearly, just like with my background in healthcare and kind of specializing in that, I want to prioritize helping this situation out and looking at it with a real logical, common sense lens and making sure that we solve this problem. I think one of the biggest issues right now, and this kind of goes back to nonprofits and where taxpayer money goes, we have over $1 billion to solve this problem. We've been collecting taxpayer money to solve this problem, but it has not been solved yet, and we only see it getting worse. And so for me, I feel like instead of giving our taxpayer money to nonprofits who don't have specialized healthcare personnel, we should be giving this to nonprofits that do have specialized healthcare personnel and can produce results. Also, on top of that, we should be giving that money to hospitals, local hospitals that already have doctors, already have nurses, already have management to make sure that a goal is started and completed start to finish. It would be a better use of our resources to kind of move forward to treatment first instead of housing first or other ideas.
You're not a big fan of safe rest villages. We've got 10 safe rest villages that were basically created under current City Commissioner Dan Ryan's watch. You're not a fan of them. Why not?
I'm not a fan of the safe rest villages because they're low barrier, which means that once you're in those safe rest villages, you don't really get a lot of help. I've been to those safe rest villages myself, and some of them have been across schools, some of them have been in in neighborhoods, and what ends up happening is whatever's happening in that safe rest village where there is low barrier of entry, which means that someone can continue doing drugs, they can continue selling drugs. There are some people being assaulted in those safe rest villages. That's $16 million of taxpayer money, and I believe instead of just doing safe rest villages and providing people with these small little tin sheds, maybe we should invest that money into long-term housing, something that's a little bit more permanent so that people can actually come in there, they can get the help that they need, there are resources in this housing, and transition to something else. Eventually, Portland can't be in charge of every single person suffering with mental health and addiction issues in the entire nation, but we can be in charge of the population that we have here, and we can provide them with housing and provide them with transitional housing, which gets them stable and on their own. The safe rest villages, to me, I don't think it's very humane just to give somebody a small shed and say, this is where you're going to be at. We don't know how long those leases are going to be. We don't know what kind of help they're getting. We don't know if they're even getting help at all. There might be a small percentage of folks that are, rising up from that, but a lot just end up in the safe rest villages and then right back on the streets.
Got about a minute left, and as I mentioned at the top of this show, House Bill 4002 went into effect today. As people are watching this program. So what do you think about the recriminalization of drugs and the idea of deflection for people who are caught with those amounts?
So I really believe that at some point we do need to criminalize drugs. I have seen this just firsthand of what's happened as a pharmacist. When I looked at Measure 110, I initially was not for it because we're looking at just the amounts of fentanyl that are legal in the streets. For example, it's 2.5 grams, and it only takes 2.5 milligrams to be a lethal dose to kill somebody. When we look at oxycodone pills, Measure 110 said you can have 60 oxycodones with you. And I've dealt with pain patients, and nobody really carries around 60 oxycodones with them when they're in pain. Usually if you're out in the public, you'll carry around 1 or 2 pills when you're in pain and take it. If you have 60, it's usually the intention to sell it. So we created this environment where it's very easy to sell drugs, and I think it's great that we're going to be kind of going back on that and also holding people accountable because drugs are being sold on our streets. It's increasing our homeless issue, it's increasing our substance abuse issues.
Sandeep Bali, thank you very much for being on Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thank you so much for having me.